liked it.
Please stop. I'll have to throw my Coke in your face.
Mr. Beast just got arrested.
I just can't get it together today.
You okay?
Not okay. It's having such a hard day today.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Well, you said that you were expecting a family.
Brother man, come on.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry, Justin. I didn't mean to offend you or anything.
Okay.
We just
put the camera down.
Okay.
Mr. Beast, Puff Daddy, and Blake Lively all have one icky thing in common. Their true personalities came to light this year, and there's a lot to talk about. So Mr. Beast, the #1 most subscribed to YouTube channel, and Amazon were sued this year by contestants of the Beast Games competition show for harassment, chronic mistreatment, and more. 5 unnamed participants of the show, which reportedly pits 2,000 people against each other for a single cash prize of $5 million, has had, I think, at least several allegations raised against it in the press, and now there's a class action lawsuit, which, not a great thing to have against a new show. According to the lawsuit, participants were not paid properly, they experienced emotional distress, they did not receive uninterrupted meal breaks or rest breaks, which are very important. They were deprived of medical care, food, sleep, basic hygiene. Folks were subjected to a hostile work environment. So enter popular YouTuber Rosanna Pansino, and she's been investigating Mr. Beast for a hot minute, and she's been bringing a lot of this to light. And she's also been bringing a flurry of other accusations made by people, both online and offline. So she's a baking YouTuber. She's got 14.5 million subscribers. She's best known for like the cheery videos she's made for more than a decade. She's normally pretty far away from the kind of drama that a lot of creators look for. And she's quietly built a successful brand, and now she's using this power for those who can't speak up. Since speaking out on Twitter about numerous accusations she said she's collected regarding unsafe working conditions during a promotional shoot for Beast Games and more, she said in her words that she feels like she's become an advocate for everybody, and it's just a lot. I think most recently, like 2 weeks ago, she shared a video titled "Mr. Beast Knew All Along, 1,000 plus leaked messages," which are accusing Mr. Beast, real name Jimmy Donaldson, and his team members of heinous behavior in the workplace. Can't say what kind of heinous, but Google, folks. In the 22-minute long video, Rosanna Pansino and Dogpack404 went through a series of really disturbing chat logs of possible Mr. Beast employees. They claimed that Jimmy knew about his longtime collaborator Ava Chris Tyson's problematic behavior. I can't say any specifics without getting in trouble with the internet, people, but replace problematic with the ickiest kind of criminal you can think of, you might get the right idea. So a day after Rosanna laid all of that out, she mentioned that she reported what she found in her concerns to the FBI, so hopefully they're gonna look into all that. Because that's not it. There's also like the whole Lunchly thing. Rosanna bought one of Mr. Beast's new Lunchables, or improved Lunchables, and found mold. Like, there's so many things I could talk about with this guy. So amid all the excitement from Linkin Park's new lineup and album announcement, there's now been some concerns expressed from the fanbase regarding the band's new lead singer, Emily Armstrong. Turns out she's got a history with the Church of Scientology, and more specifically, Danny Masterson, which if you don't know that name, let's just say he's done some icky things. So these claims are brought to light from fans that came across a past comment left by the Mars Volta and former At the Drive-In vocalist Cedric Bixler Zavala. So according to news outlets, the comments come from a screen grab that Zavala posted on his Insta story back in 2023, and he tagged Emily Armstrong's band at the time and wrote the following. He said, and I quote, "Remember Emily? Remember how your fellow Scientologist goon squad surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators? The court sheriffs had to escort her away from your awful cult." The alleged claims made by Zavala allegedly indicate that Emily was present at Danny's trial, and that's not a great thing. That's not somewhere you want to be. And if you don't believe me, ask Ashton Kutcher. Puff Daddy spent decades in the music industry building up his legacy. We all know the bad boy empire, all the side hustles, the parties. He was a mainstay in the social hub. He was one of the hip hop artists on Forbes' list of billionaires in 2022. He had like so many #1 hits on the Billboard Top 100. But here's the thing with these big legacies. They're kind of fragile. And something that took decades to put together kinda got dismantled overnight this year. So just 2 months after being honored with the Global Icon Award at the 2023 MTV Video Music Awards, the hip-hop world was turned on its head when Puff Daddy's ex, Cassie, filed a heck of a lawsuit, accusing the mogul of years of misconduct and harm during their time together. It was settled in less than 24 hours, but the floodgates opened. Puff Daddy's been peppered with a litany of similar lawsuits, and there's been a lot that's got down this year. We've talked about it in depth. I don't think I need to super cover it. But let's just say the heat went up several levels when Homeland Security stepped in on March of this year to raid Puff Daddy's homes in LA and Miami. And he got linked to a doozy of an investigation. Allegations have been coming out left, right, and center. There's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of NDAs at play. But let's just say this reputation is kind of tarnished now forever. The most recent Bachelorette Gen Trans ex-fiance demonstrator had a bit of a news blurb come to light this year. Turns out he was arrested 7 years before he made an appearance on The Bachelorette. Back in 2017, he was arrested after allegedly burglarizing an ex-girlfriend's home. Turns out he made a fire in the street with what appeared to be the actual restraining order, according to legal documents. The ex-girlfriend also had a tire flattened in her vehicle, and when it was getting changed, he came outside and was laughing at her. On March 22nd of this year, after conspiracy theorists around the world had been assuming the worst and craziest theories for a month prior, the Royal Palace released a clear video with a statement from the mouth of the Princess of Wales. She mentioned that, she wanted to take that opportunity to say thank you for all the wonderful messages of support and understanding while she'd been recovering from surgery, and that was referring to the planned abdominal surgery she underwent in January. And she mentioned at the time of the surgery, the doctors thought her condition was non-cancerous, and that the surgery on that day was successful. The doctors found that cancer had been present, which explained why Prince William cancelled his royal appointments on that day and then rushed to the hospital the next day to be with his wife. Now, it was announced on September 9th that Kate is now cancer-free, and I wish her nothing but the best, but it was a heck of a year for her, the poor thing. A recent documentary about the rise and fall of World Wrestling Entertainment's Vince McMahon debuted on Netflix this year, and it brought out a variety of emotions from one of his accusers. So the 6-part Mr. McMahon features interviews with McMahon and touches on let's just say controversies that have plagued his decades-long career. They include accusations by Janelle Grant, a former WWE employee who accused McMahon in a civil suit in January of forcing her into participating in intercourse in exchange for a job. Now, Vince McMahon was a household name for decades. He co-founded the $8 billion business empire that paved the way for so many superstars. And a lot of those superstars from the past spoke out in the docuseries. And it addressed a lot of other allegations that got brought to light. And it's really icky, and there's a reason Vince is no longer involved with WWE. So there was a number of crew members who worked on It Ends With Us with Blake Lively that mentioned that behind the scenes differences and a power struggle between her and director Justin Baldoni were very obvious during filming, and they affected a lot of the production problems. So this production was kind of plagued with a lot of things. It was an on-again, off-again situation. It was from March through June 2023, and it turns out Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's contrasting approaches to filmmaking kind of clashed royally. According to 3 sources who asked to be anonymous because job safety, it was very clear to them that Blake didn't want to actually be on set, which, that was her project. She tried bossing people around, she had all these ideas about how things would be according to her vision, and it just didn't work out.
After dating for 10 years, Diddy and Cassie Ventura broke up in 2018. Now, the pair first met in 2005 when Cassie was 19 and Diddy was 37. She was an up-and-coming singer who was signed to his Bad Boy Records and soon released her debut album, Cassie. The pair began dating in 2007 after he aggressively pursued her, according to her lawsuit against him. Yes, in November 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy where she claimed that he mistreated her and took advantage of her during their relationship. Now, this was witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and Mr. Combs' related business, but no one dared to speak up against their frightening and ferocious boss, the file claimed. Cassie was briefly linked to rapper Kid Cudi, and when Diddy found this out, he threatened to blow up his car, and it did blow up shortly after, according to the lawsuit. Yeah, that has Diddy written all over it. Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations, his lawyers said at the time. Now, before the settlement, Diddy denied her allegations through his attorney Ben Brafman. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subjected to Miss Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Now, after the case was settled, the day after it was filed, I may add, his attorney put out another statement saying, "Just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Miss Ventura the best." So yeah, Diddy claimed he was innocent, that Cassie was lying, and that was that. Until earlier this year, when hotel footage leaked of an incident Cassie described in the lawsuit. Now, it was proof that she was telling the truth and Diddy was lying. He wasn't innocent at all. Now, after this was leaked, Diddy made an apology where essentially he was only sorry because he got caught. Honestly, the CCTV footage was extremely disturbing, and it showed us that there was something seriously wrong with the star. It also showed us that he was a liar and would do anything to protect his image. It was truly chilling. Then there is Usher. Now, he didn't mean to expose Diddy, and he didn't do it out of malice, but some stuff he revealed really showed us what type of person Diddy is. When Usher was younger, Diddy literally had custody of the star. "I got a chance to see some things, I went there to see the lifestyle, and I saw it," Usher said during his first Howard Stern show interview. He went to a Puffy Flavor camp after he impressed music executive L.A. Reid with his musical abilities. He was then flown to New York to live with Diddy during the heyday of the Bad Boy records in order to experience what it meant to really make it big in music. Now, Diddy also exposed Usher to Hollywood parties, and they weren't really appropriate for him. Usher spoke about this in an interview with Howard Stern, saying, "I got a chance to see some things. I don't know if I can indulge and even understand what I was looking at." He then went on to describe the wild nature of events, saying, "It was pretty wild, it was crazy. There were very curious things taking place that I didn't necessarily understand it." Now that Usher has his own kids though, Howard was curious if he'd ever send them to Puffy Flavor Camp. "Hell no," Usher said. And I honestly think that's extremely telling. Diddy clearly wasn't the right person for Usher to be with. Sure, it helped his music career, but everything else? I don't know. Then there's 50 Cent. 50 Cent has always been vocal for his distaste against Diddy, and it turns out he was also right when it came to this. 50 Cent has been calling out Diddy since the early 2000s and has continued to defend what he said in the past. He's been very public about not going to Diddy parties and saying how weird they were. Now, after the footage of Diddy and Cassie at the hotel was leaked, 50 Cent was seen defending Cassie and standing up for her, calling what Diddy did horrible. Then, when Diddy's house got raided in March this year, he poked fun at the star, and after Diddy was arrested in September for various crimes, 50 Cent said he knew this all along and was happy that people were finally listening to him. "Look, it seems like I'm doing some extremely outrageous things, but I haven't," he told People magazine in October. "It's really me saying what I've been saying for 10 years. He then added, "Now it's becoming more full-facing in the news with the Puffy stuff, but away from that, I'm like, yo, it's just my perspective because I stayed away from that stuff the entire time because it's not my style." 50 Cent is actually making a documentary about Diddy called Diddy He Do It, and it's been said that it will follow a complex narrative spanning decades, as the series director Alexandria Stapleton told Variety. Now, I think this means that we need to listen to what 50 Cent says more often. Now we have Cat Williams. In January this year, he sat down for a tell-all interview with Shannon Sharpe on the Club Shay Shay podcast. During this interview, he dropped some bombshells about Diddy. In the interview, Cat predicted that Diddy would be catching hell in 2024, and he later added, "I had to turn down $50 million 4 times to protect my integrity." Cat then goes on to say, "Because P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no." He also predicted Diddy's run-in with authorities, as he noted during the interview, "All of these big deviants is catching hell in 2024, it's up for all of them. It doesn't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, all lies will be exposed. In 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information information, knowledge, and your secrets. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. Now, people on the internet are now watching this interview back and are claiming that Kat was trying to warn people. One person on Twitter said, "The only celebrity we should be taking seriously is at Cat Williams. He's honest and not afraid of the truth." Another said, "Feds looking for Diddy. Ever since Cat Williams said this, 2024 never been the same." Now, I just wish that Kat warned everyone sooner. In 2022, Kanye West claimed that Diddy was working with law enforcement, and that's why he was getting away with some of the stuff he was doing. In an interview for Drink Champs in 2022, Kanye called out celebrities for allegedly working with law enforcement to turn on other celebrities so they could avoid prison. Now, one of the celebrities he called out by name was Diddy, who he referred to as Puff Daddy. Now, the whole interview was eventually deleted due to some offensive things Kanye said, but with people now digging it back up, his comments about Diddy hold more weight. Kanye said that Diddy is making deals to keep himself out of trouble. "The reason why you gotta talk is because you did a deal you effing fed. That's why you've got to come at me, because part of the deal for you to be able to do all that and get out of jail is that you promise that you're gonna pull my card," he said. Now, a lot of people didn't take this seriously as Kanye was acting, well, insane in 2022 and was just full of hate, but it seems like he might have been right about this. In the end though, Diddy was arrested, so if he did have a deal, it didn't work out. And finally we have Aubrey O'Day. Now, Aubrey worked closely with Diddy as she was a part of a girl group that was under his management. Now, Aubrey was later fired from the group though and spoke out about Diddy, while Diddy went on air to say that Aubrey's attitude needed to be humbled. In the years since, Aubrey claims that she was fired because she refused to do things that were expected of her outside of recording and doing interviews to promote the band and the albums. Now, given all the recent allegations against Diddy, you can put together what she was insinuating. Now, she wasn't afraid to talk about him and call him out in the media. During a 2019 interview with Variety, she went into greater detail, discussing her time on the Diddy-produced Making the Band show, and said, "We were scared to death with what would happen with Puff each day. I experienced everything from race remarks to sexism, and a lot of it was scary." Now, she also called out the rapper after the video of Diddy and Cassie was leaked online, as he made an apology regarding the video, and Aubrey criticized his response on social media. But honestly, I'm glad she's felt empowered enough to speak up against what she went through.
So when Khloe Kardashian posts photos of her family, True and Tatum, the comment section is usually just flooded with well wishes. It's like, "Oh, what a cute family, how great." However, there was a post she made on September 24th of this year that saw suspicion and anger mixed in amongst the usual comments of like, "Oh, so cute." Followers appear to be turning on Khloe and her entire family due to their previous association with Puff Daddy. So this Instagram post, pretty cute, right? Like, she's dropping off her family at school, and there was a lot of positive comments, like pop singer Chloe Bailey was like, "Oh my gosh, best mama." But then you gotta look at the ick. So, we're just glossing over the sick fact that she and the other Kardashians knew what went on at parties, said one commenter, and then we got this comment in all caps. I'm not gonna yell it, but you'll get the emphasis. "This circus is trying to deflect from them parties they went to." Direct quote, pardon the poor grammar. Look folks, for many decades, anybody who knew anything about Hollywood parties knew that Puff Daddy parties were the place to be. He had his annual Hamptons White Party, he had these blowout birthday bashes, like these lavish soirees were attended by everybody. Jay-Z and Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Leonardo DiCaprio, the Kardashians, they were like the socialites, so obviously they had to be at the parties. For his 50th birthday, Puff Daddy had the whole Kardashian family there, as well as Pharrell, Kate Beckinsale, Naomi Campbell, and now, obviously, in light of recent events, all these images are going viral on social media because folks want to know what megastars were at these parties and what parties did they go to. And in some images, it looks like everybody's like having a good time. They've all got bottles of some fun liquid. There's a photo of Leonardo DiCaprio having some fun. There's Mariah Carey having a good time. But there's one image that stands out to me. Puff Daddy screaming at one party. He's got Paris Hilton in his arms and Kim K by his side. So obviously that had to have been during the era when Paris had Kim being her assistant. But like, still Kim, we got questions. But let's get back to Khloe for a moment. So there is a video that recently redid numbers on social media because in it we see Khloe Kardashian bragging about partying with a music mogul. This was in an older episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I think it aired around 2014, so about 10 years ago now, and it showed the now 40-year-old catching up with her sister Kourtney as she unpacked a wild party with a bunch of her friends, including, but not limited to, Puff Daddy, Justin Bieber, and French Montana. Later in the episode, Khloe was enjoying a bowling session with a pal and she mentioned, "I haven't been to bed yet. I got on a plane at 5:30. She was still talking about the party, going into details that I can't talk about, but once again, what's going on? Looks like the friendship was long lasting because 2 years later, so 2016, Khloe invited Puff Daddy to appear on her Cocktails with Khloe series, where she hailed him as a hardworking yet eclectic person, saying, "Well, I know you're known for the parties. When you think of a party or a good time, you think of Puff." She's like, "We've been known to party with you a few times." Obviously, the we was the family, because she turned to her sister Courtney, who was also in this episode. She's like, "Yeah, you were just at Puffy's birthday." And she's like, "Yeah, I forgot about that. That was an epic night too. Every night." She's like, "Yeah, that was fun because all the girls ditched me, so it was me and the boys. It was me, Kanye, Corey, T, and we were all just hanging out and it was fun. I loved it." So once again, the sisters are heaping praise on Puff Daddy. Khloe added, "I don't know how you have all the energy, but that's who you are and that's why people are so drawn to you, because you're so eclectic. No matter what, no matter how much you work, you don't sleep, you don't do anything, and that's just you." And this friendship is still going strong. We're gonna go down the timeline, folks. 2019, Khloe's still posting pictures of Puff Daddy. So that's only, carry the one, 5 years ago, folks. And she can be seen posing with the now disgraced producer. Also, we've got Kim and Kylie. These photos were to commemorate Puffy's celebrity-packed 50th birthday party that I mentioned earlier. So sure, if we're gonna go throughout the family tree, I know a lot of outlets have claimed that Kim was among those who unfollowed Puff Daddy on Instagram, but nobody in the family has really spoken publicly about the speculation. So here's the thing. Khloe has literally said so many times that there's nothing like a Puffy party. And girl, what were these parties? Tell me more. Okay, we do have to say that nobody in the famous family has been linked to any of the allegations that Puffy is facing, but they haven't spoken out following his arrest. Not to say hey, we weren't at this, hey, that was bad. They've been fawning over him publicly for how many years now, folks? A decade, if not more. I know Kris Jenner's partner, Corey Gamble, had ties to the rapper. So once again, why are they not speaking out? Well, apparently they might be dreading the prospect of testifying at his trial. According to an insider, they're actually in panic mode. The whole family's oh my gosh, all these years they've been bragging about partying with them, and obviously everybody's assuming and wondering, were they involved in the freak-offs? Now, if you don't know, those are the carefully organized events that involved activities with professional workers. So according to sources, the whole family was yeah, no, we're not involved. We just can't say anything, because they had no idea the sorts of twisted things that he was up to after hours. But yet, the girls were talking about partying with him to 5:30 a.m., and we all know the timeline of what party happened when. Now, sure, sources have said that yes, Puffy had plenty of glamorous parties over the years that weren't freak-offs, at least not until the early morning hours when the majority of people had left. Well, once again, folks, early morning hours, we're going back to leaving the party at 5:30. That screams early morning to me. How about you? Going back to Corey for a moment, he shared a post in a couple of years ago honoring the family, honoring one of Puff Daddy's partners. So a lot of folks think that Corey must have had some knowledge of what was going on at these parties, being so close to Puffy and his partner, which he's totally denying. Yes, sure, this is all very ugly and very embarrassing, and Kris, being the absolute ultimate PR person, is scrambling to distance themselves from everything and distract everybody. But it's kind of impossible when you've been bragging about it for so long. So let's talk about a lot of Puffy's parties for a moment. Let's go back to 1999. Puffy was talking about his white holidays, and it's kind of hit the news for a couple of reasons you're gonna find out in a moment. He said in 1999, and I quote, "They don't want me to party anymore, but we're not gonna stop. We will continue to have fun, to unite people from all walks of life." And he made a prediction, folks. He said, "You will hear about my holidays. They're going to shut them down. Maybe they're going to arrest me. They're going to do all kinds of crazy things just because we want to have a good time." He said, and I quote, "Whenever you bring a different element into people's environments, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated. It's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it." Now, I gotta ask, if you were predicting this in 1999, what were you doing back then? How did you know that this was gonna go sour? He's also joked publicly about his tactics for keeping women from ditching his get-togethers. He did this back in 2002 on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, because Conan asked, how do you throw a great party? And he said, woman. Beautiful woman, of course. Beautiful men for the ladies, of course. You need some water. I don't know if guys have noticed this, but a lot of ladies drink water at the parties, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. Gotta keep them there. Need locks on the door. Now, when Conan O'Brien was that sounds kinda dangerous, Diddy tried laughing that off, and it's no, that actually sounds like a bit of a safety concern. I wouldn't wanna be locked at a party. So sure, as allegations are surfacing and we're going through all these details about all the heinous things, it might be a while before we get the details that we want. Turns out a lot of attendees were forced to sign NDAs, so whoops. Now, it is a very standard NDA. It's just like, okay, you can't share information related to Puff Daddy, any partners, any family members, friends, business associates. Can't take any photos, you can't film anything, can't record anything without Puff Daddy's consent or, whatnot. You also can't share anything to social media, you can't post photos or videos. So sure, it makes sense why certain things aren't getting out, but then, I don't know. Oh, and also you can't give interviews, write books, or discuss anything. So I guess that's why we're not getting the information that we need, but at the same time, come on folks.
Oprah Winfrey is arguably one of the most well-known people in Hollywood, from building her own empire with her talk show and production company, but she has a tie to one of the most evil men out there right now, Diddy. Now, Oprah and Diddy are actually friends, as they've been spotted together plenty of times. They've attended charity events, been spotted at award shows, at Diddy's infamous parties, and Oprah even had him as a guest on her talk show back in the day. But when he was a guest, it was just, well, weird. As you may know, Diddy has gone by many different names. His legal name is Sean Combs. He then changed his middle name to Love at one point. He's gone by Puff Daddy, Puffy, p.diddy, and Diddy. Why all these names? It's honestly so confusing, but it seems like Diddy will never share why they change. In 1996, under the name Puff Daddy, he released his first commercial vocal work as a rapper. He then changed his stage name from Puff Daddy to p.diddy in 2001. On August 16, 2005, he announced on Today that he was altering his stage name yet again and would be calling himself Diddy. He then changed his name once again on November 5, 2017, when he announced he'd be going by the name Love, stating, "My new name is Love, aka Brother Love." 2 days later, he told the press that he was joking, but then on January 3, 2018, he announced on Jimmy Kimmel Live that he had changed his mind again and will be using the new name after all. Now, the change became official in 2022, but personally, I just call him Diddy because all of this is just confusing, and not only for me, as many other people have been confused by what to call him, and even why he's had all these different names that constantly change. Now, in 2006, while making an appearance on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Oprah tried to get to the bottom of Diddy's stage names, why he changed them, and even what they meant. Diddy, though, was not going to give up that information that easily. He said, "It's a nickname somebody gave me. I've never told anyone that. I know you get people to tell you everything, Oprah, but I can't look you in the eye and explain that one." He then shoved the question aside and said it's just a silly name. It was then made clear that he didn't want to share the deeper meaning and the significance of his stage name, and what's strange is that Oprah did not probe him anymore and just accepted that she wouldn't get an answer. Diddy then said, "I'll answer every other question except that one," which is just so weird. And why did Oprah just accept that? She's known for questioning and pushing her guests, but she just accepted this. Now, does she know something we don't? I mean, it's just strange overall. Now, in his other interviews, Diddy opened up about his many nicknames. As well, speaking with CNN, he shared, "I've had different name changes because I only just grew up in a neighborhood where everybody had nicknames. My nickname was Puffy," and he said he was given the nickname Puff as a child because he would huff and puff when he was angry. But it seems like that's all the information we'll get. I don't know why he's making such a big deal of it though, and it honestly just makes him even more suspicious. I mean, does Oprah know the true meaning of this? Regardless, it's just weird behavior. Recently, leaked footage shows Oprah and many other star-studded celebrities inviting people to Diddy's 29th birthday party. Now, among Oprah is Chris Rock, Ellen DeGeneres, Ben Stiller, Stephen Baldwin, and Will Smith. With this video being leaked, a lot more celebrities are being accused of being involved in Diddy's crimes. One person commented on the video, "It's crazy, anyone I see here is a suspect to me," which I gotta say, I agree with. Now, another person commented, "I think it's foul that not one person was staying away from him then, and supposedly they knew. No one was saying a word. Didn't he have some kind of big 4th of July party that anyone who was anyone would be at every year? Those people should be just as guilty accomplices." Now, only a minute or so of this footage was released, but it said that the whole invite is 6 minutes long. Now, what happened with the rest of the footage though? Maybe it exposes sensitive sensitive information that would make Diddy and other celebrities look bad. Regardless, it's just very strange again, and the fact that Oprah was a part of this is a pretty big red flag. Attorney Tony Busby, who is representing over 120 alleged victims of Diddy's controversial freak-off parties, has finally begun sending demand letters to A-list celebrities who attended these events. Now, the letters have actually urged all the stars to settle out of court or face potential lawsuits, even if they did not engage in any kind of illegal activities. Tony has put forward an argument that their silence and inaction during the events makes them complicit, while stating that those who witnessed wrongdoing but did not intervene share the same level of liability as the perpetrators. Now, in a recent appearance on TMZ, Tony emphasized on the fact that the demand letters are a standard practice to outline the situation and encourage dialogue, but at the same time, he is fully prepared to escalate to lawsuits if that becomes necessary. He also noted that many celebrities are scrubbing their social media accounts to distance themselves from Sean Diddy Combs amidst the ongoing scandal. Then there's also Oprah's canceled documentary. Now, Oprah apparently spent a fortune to make sure her docuseries created about her never sees the light of day after clashing with Oscar-winning filmmaker and director Kevin McDonald over the project. As the Apple TV Plus deal was coming to an end, Miss Winfrey bought back the rights to her docuseries and has since decided to put the doc on hold, a spokesperson for Oprah told Page 6. In addition, another source said Kevin made the film, but Oprah didn't like it and he refused to change it, and Oprah has paid back her fee to Apple. Now, internet users reacted to the news that the documentary was being put on hold, and they were not impressed. Many questioned if Oprah was worried some damaging information was set to become public. Well, now isn't this sketchy? One person wrote in Page 6's comment section. Now, another individual asked, what is she afraid of or hiding? A similar take showed up on Twitter, as one person wrote, what is Oprah hiding? While another tweeted, Oprah Winfrey shelled out a fortune to prevent a documentary release. Sounds legit money talks, right? Not the truth. And yeah, I gotta say that that is pretty sketchy sounding. Now, it seems like Oprah has a pattern of being friends with some rich and powerful and problematic men, as this is not the first time people have noticed her choice in questionable friends. And with Oprah being as powerful as she is, people have started to question whether she's been directly involved in some of the crimes that have been happening in Hollywood. In 2020, rumors were going around that Oprah's house had been raided and she had been arrested in connection to many crimes. In a tweet though, she responded and said, just got a phone call that my name is trending and being trolled for some awful fake thing. It's not true. Haven't been raided or arrested. Just sanitizing and self-distancing with the rest of the world. Stay safe, everybody. Selma director Ava DuVernay also defended Oprah, posting trolls and bots began this disgusting rumor. Mean-spirited minds keep it going. Oprah has worked for decades on behalf of others, given hundreds of millions to individuals and causes in need. Shared her own mistreatment as a child to help folks heal. Shame on all who participated in this. But then again, this year, those rumors have arisen again. And who knows, maybe there's some truth to them this time. People have finally been noticing some of the sketchy stuff that's come out about Oprah, and maybe her downfall is upon us, especially considering her connection to Diddy. Now, we all know that J-Lo is linked to Diddy, and it has people questioning if she was involved in some of the crimes he committed. Now, J-Lo and Diddy began dating in 1999 after meeting on the set of her music video for If You Had My Love. They ended up breaking up in 2001, but still talk here and there. The thing is though, J-Lo has been arrested with Diddy before, and some people think she lied to the police to cover for him. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York, and J-Lo was with him, resulting in her getting arrested too. The incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, J-Lo, and others left the scene, but then they were involved in a police car chase. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J-Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. Now, the charges against J-Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy went to trial. Jennifer spent 14 hours in a police station as a result of the incident, and she later described it as an unfortunate situation, adding, "We were somewhere we shouldn't have been. It was a bad situation, and any bad situation that involves celebrities, people run with." Some witnesses, though, say that they saw J-Lo throw evidence out of the car while they were running from the police. Now, J-Lo has rarely spoken about the incident, but in the year 2000, she did address it in an interview with British Elle. She said, "It was a complete nightmare. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. No one did." Now, J-Lo was in a little more trouble when they were arrested because up until that point, Jennifer said she was born in 1970, but she was actually born in 1969. Now, why did she change her age? No one really knows. Some say it was to appear younger in Hollywood, and while I understand that, the difference was only 1 year, and to be honest, I don't think that would help that much. But yes, it was discovered that she was lying about her age. If she could lie about that and then was maybe caught tampering with evidence, how can we believe her about anything? Then back in 2015, Jennifer appeared on the Wendy Williams show with her mother. Now during the conversation, Wendy wanted to know if J-Lo and Diddy could ever get back together. Wendy said, "So if you recall, the last time you were here, I was telling you that I could always see you getting back with Puffy in a little way." Now J-Lo laughed and shook her head while Wendy shrugged, but J-Lo's mother's reaction was the most shocking part of this. A camera panned to her in the audience and she shouted no while doing a cut it hand gesture. Now safe to say she didn't like Diddy and didn't want her daughter to get back together with him, which honestly was probably the right call. But I truly wonder what happened between them that made her mother hate him so much. I mean, J-Lo has said in the past that Diddy cheated on her, but she never had any real proof. She said, "I was in this relationship with Puff where I was totally crying crazy and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin." Now she grew increasingly concerned about his fidelity, saying, "I never caught him, but I just knew," she said of his cheating. Now Diddy himself admitted that he was often unfaithful in relationships, but was there more to this relationship that made J-Lo's mother hate him? I guess we'll never know. Then there's the fact that J-Lo likes to exaggerate growing up in the Bronx. You see, when J-Lo's documentary The Greatest Love Story Never Told was released this year, viewers had issues with the way she described growing up in the Bronx. In one scene, it shows Jennifer looking into a mirror reminiscing about her childhood. She says, "I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block, crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams." But even though she loves speaking about the Bronx, it's a place she actively avoids, as people who actually live in the Bronx have exposed. One TikTok creator, Photos by Angela, posted a video alleging that she and J-Lo had gone to the same high school and claims to have waited for years before speaking out, having been annoyed in silence. Now in the TikTok clip, she accused J-Lo of lying and using the residents of the Bronx to look human. "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block," she says. Not to mention the fact that J-Lo starred in a car commercial that took place in the Bronx, but the ad backfired when it was reported that J-Lo never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad and that a body double stand-in was used instead. Now it seems like J-Lo just acts like she loves the Bronx, but it's just a facade. It's so strange that she's made this her main image and personality though, when there are people who can actually deny all of this. Then there's how J-Lo stays looking young. Now J-Lo is beautiful for her age, and everyone has always commented on how well she's aged, but it seems like there might be something at play here that not everyone can do. Now J-Lo herself says the key to her flawless skin is olive oil. The star spoke out ahead of the launch of her J-Lo Beauty skincare range, saying of olive oil, "It's a secret I've used over the years because it really does work." But fans and professionals are not convinced. In the past, fans have caught J-Lo using video filters to blur her skin to make it look perfect. And then there's the people who have accused the star of getting cosmetic work done. Plastic surgeon Corey Hartman took to Instagram to challenge J-Lo on her whole olive oil thing. He said, "There are some things that I think and other things that I know for sure. I think Jennifer Lopez is probably forgetting if she's ever had Botox, but I know for sure that she's used more than olive oil to maintain that glow. I really thought that we turned the corner on Botox denial and judging others for personal choices when it comes to cosmetic procedures. Now, Jennifer has obviously not responded to these claims, but many other surgeons and people online have speculated that she's gotten work done. And then there's the fact that JLo is a diva and has so many demands whenever she performs. Honestly, I'm shocked people still hire her because it seems like a pain in the butt to do everything that she wants. Now, when she appeared on the British television show Top of the Pops in the late 90s, it's been said that she refused to perform unless her dressing room was completely redecorated. It's alleged that JLo demanded that everything had to be white or she wouldn't go on stage. Now, this seems to be a theme because it was reported while attending a recording session for the African AIDS charity single What's Going On in 2002, she submitted her standard tour rider, which demanded a 40-foot trailer furnished all in white from top to bottom, flowers, tablecloth, drapery, couches, candles, everything. Love don't cost a thing, says Gary Sussman at Entertainment Weekly, but being a diva sure can be expensive. And hey, I gotta agree. Then there's her hotel demands. In the 90s and early 2000s, it was said that she had very specific food and beverage notes for the hotels she stayed at. Her personal suite must include a coffee maker, hot water pot, toaster, microwave, and an oven all set up before she arrives. Additionally, she requests plates, coffee mugs, thermos cups, and silverware. Now, she also demanded 12 bottles of water for her second room, which was her wardrobe room. It seems like she didn't change her ways though, as in January 2016, she started her Las Vegas residency. She signed a 3-year contract to perform roughly 120 shows a year at Planet Hollywood's Axis Theater. She makes $350,000 for each show and performed 3 times a week. But this wasn't enough for her, as she had more demands. She requested 3 penthouse suites all next to each other, she asked for a playground in her suite for her kids, and she also demanded a personal laundry service and for each room to have its own on-call butler wearing all white. The housekeeping staff had to sign full disclosure agreements to ensure that they didn't spill any of her secrets. Now, she requested brand new toilets for the backstage area, and then again, an all-white dressing room. Now, I'm sure if she were to have gone through with her summer tour, the demands would have been even more insane. Now, single tickets to the Met are $75,000. Yep, you heard that right. Meanwhile, a 10-seat table costs at least $350,000. Now that is just insane. Now, many celebs won't find themselves footing the bill for the star-studded evening, however, as fashion houses are known to buy tables and invite celebrity guests along in exchange for them wearing one of their designs on the famous red carpet. But still, that is so much money. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Met Gala made its debut back in 1948 as a fundraiser for the Costume Institute. Now, the brains behind the fundraiser was fashion publicist Eleanor Lambert. Since Eleanor hosted the first ball, Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour has taken over the reins. She has been the lead chairperson of the gala event since 1955. Anna oversees the benefit committee and the guest list, as well as choosing who will co-host the glamorous event with her. When Eleanor created the Met Gala, it reportedly cost just $50 a ticket. Now, tickets are believed to be 1,500 times as more expensive. But hey, it's all for charity, which I think makes it better, but still, it's just a ridiculous amount of money. I think it helps us put into perspective why the Met is considered such a big deal. Now, the general public doesn't really know what happens when these celebrities actually go into the Met, but apparently there are performers. Or at least there was one this year, and it was none other than Ariana Grande. Now, this came as a shock because fans haven't seen her perform in a while, but they were so excited to see all the videos. When she performed, there were 30 dancers, as well as members of the 40-person chair Broadway inspirational voices on stage with her. Now, the set opened with a rendition of Once Upon a Dream from Disney's 1959 classic Sleeping Beauty, a nod to the theme this year. Then she blended some of her hits including Into You, 7 Rings, The Boy Is Mine, We Can't Be Friends, and Yes And. For the finale, Cynthia Erivo joined Ariana on stage for a duet, When You Believe, a song made famous in 1998 by Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. Now, some footage of the performance has been leaked online, and many many fans are begging Ariana to go on tour again, and if it's anything like that performance, the fans will not be disappointed. Now, the number of attendees is also something that's kept secret. It said the amount of people varies, with 500 being considered small and cozy, and 800, the largest number of attendees the Met Gala has ever entertained, being deemed too big. We do want the experience to feel intimate for our guests, Vogue's Sylvia Ward-Durrett told Fast Company in 2017. So in the past few years, we've really scaled back and dropped numbers by almost 200 or 300 people. Despite its reputation for opulence and glam, the organizers actually want the event to feel exclusive for the lucky few who get to attend, with Anna usually starting the list with the hopes of keeping it at 500. We want to keep this an intimate setting because that's why people come to this, Ward-Durrett is overheard saying in the first Monday in May. And just because the celebrity is invited doesn't mean they automatically get a +1 for their significant other. Now, their partner must also land an invite of their own, which I feel like can just suck. Now, what happens at the top of the stairs? Well, once the guests have walked the red carpet and survived the iconic steps, they then greet Anna Wintour and the other hosts. Now, this year the co-chairs were Bad Bunny, Zendaya, Chris Hemsworth, and Jennifer Lopez. Now, this part usually takes quite a bit of time as they exchange pleasantries. After that, guests are invited to walk through the Costume Institute's exhibition before it opens to the public. Then they eat. Yes, dinner is actually served at the event, with Stephen Colbert once revealing all the guests had to wait for Wintour to take her seat before digging in. And like any other aspect, Anna is heavily involved in the menu planning for each gala. A Vogue employee told the Post that Wintour once banned ingredients that had the potential to get stuck in your teeth, like parsley, or could give a guest bad breath, like a lot of garlic, or worst of all, stain their gown. So, appetizers are made to be easily eaten. Anna usually prefers that the food served somewhat corresponds to the theme, so it'll be interesting if we find out what it is this year. Seline Dion's new documentary just came out, and she revealed a lot of secrets that gave us fans some insight into her life, so let's talk about them. Starting off, we have struggling for years. Seline Dion first had issues with her muscles spasming 17 years ago. She noticed her voice was higher and that it cracked more than it usually did the day after a show. In the film, she points out that usually a singer's voice is half step higher after heavy use, but her spasms were affecting how long she could warm up before singing for several hours, a critical part of vocal health. Now, her diagnosis developed into SPS, also known as stiff person syndrome. Now, a year before the documentary began filming, she very suddenly could no longer walk. As of filming, she could still not sing due to the way the disorder called muscle rigidity and spasms, further affecting her vocal cords. Now, only 1 out of every 1 million people develop this condition, and unfortunately, there is no known cure. Now, she did surprise everyone at the 2024 Grammys as she made a surprise appearance to present one of the most important awards, the Album of the Year award. Now, it was also revealed at that time that she had a documentary coming out. Then there's her lying to fans. It's clear throughout the documentary how seriously Seline takes her job as a touring performer. She breaks down in tears while discussing the show she cancelled while privately battling SPS. At the time of the cancellations, she had not yet publicly revealed her diagnosis and instead told people she had sinus or ear infections. Now, the star notes that when she was struggling on stage, she would point her microphone at the crowd to sing for her. The lie is too heavy now, she says. Now, one of the ways Seline tried to treat her illness was by taking Valium, but she admitted its effects would wear off between the time she took it backstage and when she walked on stage. I needed medication to function, 1 more pill, 2 more pills, 5 more pills, too many pills, she revealed. Now, at one point her dosage rose up to 90 milligrams, a fatal amount. I don't want to sound dramatic, she added, but I could have died. Now, she did all of that just to try to perform and keep fans happy. Moving on to her identity crisis. A heartbreaking moment in the documentary is when Seline admits that she doesn't know who she is and that she's having an identity crisis. Who is Seline Dion? The star tearfully asks herself in the documentary. Seline Dion is the one who sang. Now, since having to stop singing live, she has been struggling to separate who she is now from who she had been since a child, which is a world-renowned performer. Now, she recalls experiences in recording studios over the years when her vocal cords would start to give up on her, horrified that she couldn't give the people in the studio the Seline Dion they expected to show up. My voice was the conductor of my life, she explains. And then after not being able to perform anymore, another piece was taken away from her. I truly can't understand the loss of identity that would be, body, and it's such a heartbreaking moment. Next is that she has seizures. In the doc, it actually shows a clip of her having a seizure, which is just terrifying. In the footage, she suffers a 10-minute seizure where she is seen gasping for breath as medical professionals desperately attempt to alleviate her painful muscle spasms. Now the singer looks on helplessly as doctors gently lay her in a comfortable position and check her vitals. In distress, she is given a medicinal nasal spray, commonly used to treat the effects of cluster seizures in sufferers of SPS. All the while, her bare feet remained rigid as she battled the debilitating effects of the rare condition. Now after receiving assistance, the singer is finally able to sit upright and covers herself in a blanket before admitting her embarrassment at losing control of her body in front of the cameras. She tells the camera, every time something like this happens, it makes you feel so embarrassed, and so, like, I don't know how to express it, it's just, you know, like to not have control of yourself. Now that is just so sad. And finally, we have returning to the stage. Now since the making of the documentary, it had been 2 years since Seline last performed, and she was still not sure when or how she'd be able to return to the stage again without a lot of effort. Now throughout the film, she is seen stretching and warming up her vocal cords, all in an effort to return to the stage in the future. Now intercut with various clips of her performing in the past, it's clear that Seline has to relearn how to move and sing, but has made great progress in the past few years. Now cameras followed her into a studio space as she recorded Love Again from the 2023 rom-com of the same name, which she starred in. I want to be able to sing with joy without thinking, she said after a few frustrating takes. Now they also showed her recording French dubs for the film Love Again and her appearance in a documentary on John Fareham. Plus, she's still exercising her vocal cords with the hope that one day she can sing live for her fans again. She said, I still see myself dance and sing. I always find a plan B and plan C, you know, that's me. If I can't run, I'll walk. If I can't walk, I'll crawl, but I won't stop. I won't stop. It was just announced that former NFL player O.J. Simpson has died after battling cancer. Now, the former running back spent 11 seasons in the NFL, playing for only the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers. He was 76 years old at the time of his death, but there was more to this star than he let on. So let's look at some dark secrets that he took to his grave. Starting off, obviously, we have, did he do it? Now, of course, we have to talk about the crime he was put on trial for. In 1994, O.J. Simpson was tried for the deaths of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. As O.J. was a former NFL star and actor, the trial received intense media coverage. He was represented by Johnny Cochran, who made headlines with the argument about the fit of a glove in evidence during the trial. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. O.J.'s lawyers argued that the police had mishandled evidence and that there was reasonable doubt as to O.J.'s guilt. The jury found him not guilty, but he was later found liable for the deaths in a civil suit. Now, O.J. even wrote a book on this crime. It's called If I Did It, Confessions of the Killer. So did he actually do it? It seems like we'll never really know the truth. Then there's why he didn't turn himself in. When OJ failed to turn himself in, an all-points bulletin was issued for his arrest. By the morning of June 17, 1974, police arrived to arrest OJ at the home of his friend and lawyer, Robert Kardashian, but they found that OJ had slipped out the back door with his former college and Buffalo Bills teammate, Al Cowlings. Now the two men had then driven off in Al's white Ford Bronco. After a news conference, the LAPD officially declared the former football star a fugitive, where his lawyer, Howard Shapiro, announced that OJ was so distraught that he might take his own life. Then around 7 p.m., police located the white Bronco by tracing calls made from OJ's cell phone, where he was reported to be in the back seat of the vehicle. With the news helicopters following the slow chase from above and cameras broadcasting the dramatic events live to millions of astonished viewers, vehicles from the LAPD and California Highway Patrol pursued the Bronco for about an hour as it traveled some 35 miles per hour along the I-405. Finally, the Bronco pulled into the driveway of OJ's Brentwood home. He emerged from the car close to 9 p.m. and was immediately arrested and booked. Now, why he thought it was better to run, we'll never know. Now we have why he decided to commit a crime. If you didn't know, in 2007, he was arrested in Las Vegas, Nevada and charged with armed robbery and kidnapping, as he had a confrontation with two sports memorabilia collectors in a Las Vegas hotel room, but he claims that he was only trying to retrieve retrieve his own items. Now in 2008 he was convicted and sentenced to 33 years imprisonment with a minimum of 9 years without parole. He served his sentence at the Lovelock Correctional Center near Lovelock, Nevada, and he was granted parole on July 20th, 2017, which was the minimum sentence. He was released on October 1st, 2017, and on December 14th, 2021, OJ was granted early release from his parole by the Nevada Division of Parole and Probation. And finally we have his idea of a prank. Now after the trial of the century where he was found not guilty and the civil trial where he was found guilty, he did an interview in 1998 with Ruby Wax. Now Ruby has interviewed countless celebrities over the years, but she said that Simpson put her through a psychological minefield during their hours-long interview. She asked him straight up if he did it, aka ended the lives of Nicole and Ronald. He then looked at the camera and said, "No, I didn't." Now Ruby used humor as one of the ways to help disarm celebrities she was interviewing and make them feel more comfortable. As such, she was going to do a bit about being set up and not knowing who was coming through her door. And while she knew it would be OJ, it seemed like OJ had a surprise for her. As she opened the door, OJ had a banana in his hand and then pretended to stab Ruby with it, making horror movie stabbing sounds to go along with it. "I think it was his idea of a joke," Ruby explained. Now producers were so disturbed by what they saw, they almost did not air the interview. And yeah, I wouldn't blame them, but because Simpson had not been found guilty, they allowed the interview to air in its entirety. Now why he did this, we don't know and we never will. Starting off, we have change phone numbers. While Meghan was pregnant, she surrounded herself with good friends that she had for years, but a royal insider said her outrageous requests almost destroyed these relationships after she issued a shocking ultimatum. Meghan called her closest friends and told them that they needed to change their phone numbers for security reasons, the source said. She said that the palace security had told her that they didn't want people to be able to track Meghan through her friends' phones, but her friends said no, and she reportedly got very mad at them. It said that Meghan was being completely unreasonable and she threw a fit and decided not to talk to some of her friends because they dared to stand up to her. Yeah, you can't really demand someone to do that for you. Next up is leaked story to the press. Now the Royal Observer learned that Meghan has previously leaked stories to the media, which she has denied. In August 2020, OK Magazine reported that the couple's publicist provided a royal journalist with information about drones flying over their house in California. The reporter filed a request under Freedom of Information with the Los Angeles Press Department. The Freedom of Information requested that the report give away his source as a rep for Harry and Meghan. Now the reporter cited the exact address in the document, which was provided to the LAPD. Now the same reporter then cited a source in a report for the Daily Beast for an article titled "Fearful Prince Harry and Meghan Markle report multiple drone flybys to LAPD will now pay for their own security." The source / the publicist then went on the record to suggest that the couple was dealing with unimaginable levels of press intrusion. It's then been said that every time someone is quoted as a friend of Harry and Meghan post royal life, that is actually their publicist. Then there's code names. In 2018, a report claimed that Prince Harry and Meghan's bodyguards stored the couple's numbers using secret names so that if they ever lose their phones, the numbers are not leaked. In fact, the report even revealed the code names that are being used for Prince Harry and Meghan. It said that the couple are called David Stevens and Danvia Scott. There is a clue in choosing these names as both have the initials DS, which refers to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. In the past, reports claim that Prince William and Catherine have their numbers saved as Danny Collins and Daphne Clark. Now sources say that considering the risk it poses, these code names are changed at regular intervals so as to ensure no one who isn't supposed to lays their hands on their numbers. And finally, there's sister calling out lies. Now Samantha Markle has claimed that her half-sister Meghan lied to the royal family about her past. Now she made the claim during an interview with Fox News host Tucker Carlson. She said that her half-sister Meghan had told the royals in the UK that she had worked at the US Embassy in Argentina before her marriage to Prince Harry. Now Samantha said that Meghan was only in Argentina on a study program and not for a proper job at the embassy. Since 2013, Meghan has often talked about how she worked for the embassy while deciding to double major in acting and international relations at Northwestern University. Now Samantha said the role was in fact an internship paid by her father, Thomas Markle, with her uncle writing a letter of recommendation. She explained, "Our Uncle Mike, who worked for the embassy, as a favor to Dad. Dad paid for a 5-week study program. A 5-week study program, it doesn't equate to working at the embassy," which she told Rachel Ray and Craig Ferguson on live television. So with that in mind, let's take a look at some of their embarrassing secrets that have been revealed. Now, over the weekend, it was learned that the couple are selling their house. Multiple sources with direct knowledge told TMZ that JLo and Ben are using realtor Santiago Arana from the agency to sell the home they bought a little over a year ago. Now, they bought the enormous Beverly Hills mansion for just over $60 million. Now, they were on the hunt for a home for nearly 2 years, looking at more than 80 properties before settling on the mansion. It's been said that Ariana has been showing the house for around 2 weeks, and they're asking for around $65 million for the house. With a broker's commission and a new tax on super expensive properties, along with significant money that they plunked down in improvements, this would mean that they would take a loss of millions of dollars. Now, the house being on the market isn't that shocking, as JLo was spotted solo house hunting. And then it was even revealed that Ben wasn't even living with her anymore. For the last couple of weeks, Ben has been staying at a Brentwood house by himself. Now, this already raised some eyebrows, but with their house now up for sale, I think it's safe to say that Bennifer is over. But then again, Jennifer wore her wedding ring this past weekend when going out to dinner, and Ben has also been seen out with his wedding ring on. So what does this mean? No one really knows. Now, Jennifer recently canceled her upcoming tour, This Is Me Live, in order to spend more time with her family and friends. Now, a lot of people saw this coming because of the rumors of her and Ben divorcing. It was made to seem like she did this to work on their marriage, but it appears she might be doing it to end their marriage. Now, the house is just the first thing that they need to figure out. You see, when they got married, they decided that they didn't need a prenup this time. Now, according to OK Magazine, the pair wedded in Las Vegas without tying up their assets. It could be a costly decision for JLo, who's worth considerably more than Ben. Now, her current net worth is $400 million and Ben's is $150 million. But according to a source, Jen's love for Ben was so unconditional at the time that she didn't see a prenup as necessary. Now, rumor has it this wasn't the case in the first phase of their relationship. When the pair first came together, a prenup was allegedly on the table, and it was claimed that the original prenup not only protected their assets, but protected the relationship from infidelity. The contract stated that the pair were able to keep both of their money except if Ben cheated. If he stepped out, it would effectively nullify their prenup, putting his fortune at risk. But the two never made it to the altar, so the alleged prenup never had to take effect. But with them not having one now, it could prove to be a huge mistake. But there is still one person rooting for the couple, Ben's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. Garner is reportedly convinced that Lopez is a source of stability for Ben and their kids, and also really cares about the singer and wants them to remain happy and together. An insider told the Daily Mail Garner has been through it with the same man herself, and although the circumstances were quite different, they both dealt with some of the same issues. Jen does not want Ben to pull the plug on his marriage because she really does care about JLo. Now, the source further revealed that Garner has visited Ben at his home several times to talk to him about this and to try to keep the two of them together. Now, they also shared that Garner and Lopez have developed a close relationship, and that Garner regularly tells the singer that she is valued in their lives. Now, they've also bonded because both Jens are reportedly worried about the possibility of Ben relapsing into alcohol use amid the marriage troubles. Ben has been known for a pattern of relapse when he's handling marital issues, as after his divorce to Garner, he had to go to rehab again to help him. The biggest fear right now is that he will start drinking again, and part of the reason Jen has been keeping tabs on him is to make sure this doesn't happen, an insider told the Daily Mail. Now, Ben's alcohol intake was a big part of his issues that ended his marriage to Garner after about 13 years together.